BYU let a 14-point lead slip away against Iowa State and fell to them in what was a nail-biter of a game. Let's talk about it. What's up? I'm Trevor, and this is Saturday's Warrior, the channel where we talk all things BYU, Big 12, realignment. So if you like that, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. We do appreciate it quite a bit. All right, so let's talk about this game. Actually, first of all, let me apologize for this moody lighting. I was trying to get Allegiant Stadium here behind me. I'm traveling for work. I actually got to make this a quick one tonight because I got to go catch a flight. But what a bummer of a game. It was close. It was exciting. It was all over the place. But BYU just could not get their act together in the second half. I get it. Sometimes the threes don't fall, and we have to live with that. That's the live and die by the three. The first half was great. I kind of had a sneaky suspicion that they wouldn't be able to keep it up all game. I thought at some point, even when they were going through their drought, that they'd get something back, but they really struggled. But that's not the part that concerns me. The part that concerns me more is obviously the turnovers. That was just, there were so many, and there were so many unforced. You could tell that the pressure that Iowa State had put on BYU, losing that lead, that they start getting in their own head. And although there were plenty of unforced errors in the first half too, so it was just sloppy game by BYU throughout, and they just they let, like we said, the lead slip away, and it looked like they still had some fight in them. They were doing enough to keep it close, but just down the stretch, they just never got their act together, and that's really, really disappointing. Now, there is some credit, obviously, to Iowa State. They did a lot to disrupt, Khalifa wasn't having a great game, and Foose, I mean, man, he had some great plays down low, double team, and still managing to get up there. You know, that one where he caught, I think, missed a couple times, kept getting his rebound and kept putting it back up and finally scored. And so, but they really made an effort to keep him out of the paint, keep him up at the top of the key where he'd catch it, where that's not exactly his strong suit. And so they really made that difficult. And, BYU was still getting open threes, but they weren't falling. And, when that happens, I get it. I know Mark Pope says, go ahead, shoot. You've always got the green light to shoot. And there were some that were open, but they weren't really in the flow of the offense. And so I think that's obviously when BYU does their best, is when they're able to pass it around, get the defense out of position, and then get it to the open man, making that extra pass, and then they hit the three. And even if then they don't fall, you still feel better about it because that's a great possession. But even if you're open and just jacking up a quick three is not my favorite. Especially when they're struggling. I know they're trying to get it back, and you want to see one fall, and then you think they'll keep going. But at that point, keep moving the ball, and at some point, you might even open up the lane and be able to go in for easy bucket. Which there were some easy buckets that we had, some bunnies that just did not land. Which is the difference of the game. But that happens all the time. You can't do the what ifs with those, but really got to clean that up. And then Iowa State fans, you got to give them credit. They were booing at every call, regardless of whether it was a good call or a bad call, which there were plenty of bad calls. But give the fans credit for being in it. Now, if they really think that every one of those calls that they were booing against was wrong, then they don't know what they're talking about. But there were lots of bad calls in this. I liked it. It seemed like for a while the refs were letting them play, and then all of a sudden they started calling a lot of ticky-tack fouls. It felt like more on the side of BYU, and that didn't help BYU to get in the flow. But ultimately, you can't blame it on the refs. BYU turned it over so much. I know I keep harping on that, but just quite a disparity there. And when the threes aren't falling, you can't have both things happen at the same time. However, if there is a silver lining, you can say, yes, but we were playing the number 6 team in the nation, Iowa State, at Iowa State, where they haven't lost all season, turn it over, I don't know what the final number was, 16 or whatever, hit bad shooting percentage at 3, only 8 out of however many, and still kept it close. It was still that single possession right down the stretch until the fouling started. So that's the silver lining, is that BYU was still in there, and really due to a lot of unforced errors, really kind of gave that game away. And the good news, so if you believe in silver lining, so there's that. But the good news is this isn't a huge detriment to BYU. Yes, it makes it a bit tougher to get into a top 4 seed, to get a double bye in the Big 12 tournament. But ultimately, they're gonna, they've got to go, and they're going to be playing quality team no matter what, and they got to go and prepare and be ready to do that and play. First they got to beat Oklahoma State. I don't know if this loss is really going to hurt them in the rankings too much. Having another top 25 win, especially against another team that hasn't lost at home all season, would have been a lot to boost BYU. But I don't know if it'll hurt too much. I think BYU's still in good position in terms of seeding, both in the Big 12 as well as the NCAA tournament. So that's the good news. This is not the most detrimental of losses out there, but man, it is a bummer when it is within grasp like that, and you lose. Yes, because the other team plays well, but because you make so many mistakes, that is killer. It's gut-wrenching. So what a bummer, but we're on to the next one now, and appreciate you for watching, and again, if you haven't, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and as always, go Cougs.